Welcome to another show of Cowboys and Indian, the footballing show. Today, we have a very special guest, but let me introduce our secret agent, JB. How you doing, John?
Yeah, I'm all good. Thanks, Dan.
Now, apologies for our resident pundits. Both Stu and Dougie are tied up. I don't know where they're tied up, but they're probably tied up together. But they do send their apologies. But we have a legend on our show. We have Stefan, who was a former Aston Villa goalkeeper, I believe. Stefan, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, Stefan, I've got to ask you, my first question is always the same question to everyone. Normally, I know the team that the person we're coming on supports, but what is your team? When you was growing up, which team did you follow?
I follow my boyhood team, FC Utrecht, the city where I was born and raised, and that's the club I still follow. Where the heart is.
That means a lot to me because, you know, when I grew up, so I grew up in the East End of London, and I grew up West Ham, and I grew up West Ham not because we won every cup, and we were at the top. You know, in those days, in the 70s, it was Liverpool, and obviously in the 80s and 90s, more of a Man United. But I always supported the local team, so it's good to see that it shows to me that you're a good guy. You've got good character if you support your local team, rather than these glory supporters who support.
I think like the first time you get into the stadium, and you see the team that's playing, and you can suck in the atmosphere and everything, then you're hooked at that point to that team, and I think that will never change. So
that resonates 100%.
Yeah,
to all of us.
Yeah, to all of us. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and as you when you started your like all of us when we were young, we all played football in school or in the park and so on. But how was your transition? When did you play for a local team?
Yeah, to be fair, in Holland, it's like the structure is amazing. There's so many football teams, like in every corner almost there's a football team with a great structure where you can learn and everything. When I was like 13, 14, you had like the district team. I got selected for that. And when I was 15, I got into the under 17 team of FC Utrecht. It was the first time they had an under 17. They only had an under 19 and under 23 team at that time.
And Stefan, how did you feel? So you've just got into FC Utrecht, yeah? How did you feel getting into your boyhood team? It must have been an amazing feeling, yeah? Yeah,
but it's like the first time you come into a stadium. That's very impressive. And I was sitting in the coffee room and I was making my homework. And there was a player coming down and he played in Germany and I had to do like a German test. And he said, "Don't worry, I make it." And he was like in 5 minutes making my test and everything. Wow. And that was the first memory I've had in that stadium. I thought like, I have to be here because they're going to make my homework and do everything and I can just play football.
That's it. Nice.
That is awesome.
And then I met the director, and to be fair, it smoothly went on, really. I think the biggest problem was for my parents getting me every time to training and help me everywhere to get there. But for me, it was a normal way to progress.
Credit goes out to every parent out there who's done this for their children. Yeah. I've had to do this for my children as well. But when you wake up early, they don't want to play. You take them out. They then start playing. You stand there by the side. It's raining because obviously we're in the UK here. It's raining. It's cold. It's windy. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. But the parent is always there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dedication. So hats off to your parents for taking you during your youth. So you was at FC Utrecht as under 17s, and then what was next? Where did you move to next?
No, I went on really quickly to the first team. I played there 4 years in the first team. I had a big injury. I did my ligaments. So it's quite hard to get back from that. And when I got back, there was a new manager, and he didn't believe in any young goalkeepers being on goal, and that's something that's still there for coaches. So I moved on, and I went to the Graafschap, and that's a small club in Holland. But like, if you talk about a team that is really in a neighborhood where everybody supports that team, it's the Graafschap. They're called the super farmers. And everybody is so proud of that club. And I felt at home straight away for that passion of the game, just working hard, playing hard. And it was like suited for my game. How I played in goal, that was the perfect place for me to be. And in no time, the first game we played against PSV Eindhoven. It was the first home game. And we won 2-0, and the atmosphere in the stadium, and it started my career off. I just flew from that point on. It was the only loss PSV had that season. All the rest, they only had like 3 or 4 draws, and the rest they won. So it was amazing for us to win that first game, but it also put me on a pedestal for the rest of the season. I played there 2 seasons, and then Aston Villa came.
Wow, the Brits.
How did it feel when you had the Premier League come calling for you, Stefan? Was it quite
it's like a number 14. Now we were 14th, 15th in the table, and then such a big club from a Premier League team comes and buys their goalkeeper. It's like something will never happen again. This is the most amazing thing that ever happened. Also for that club, it's still the biggest transfer they ever made. So it was amazing for everybody really to be in that part.
Well, great thing for the local club though, for the super farmers. That's fantastic. Injection of cash. And how did you? What age was you at when you moved to the UK to Aston Villa?
22, 23.
Okay, so you was in your prime. Yeah,
no,
you was in your prime.
In your prime when I left Aston Villa, and when I left Wolves, then I was in my prime.
How did you feel about moving to the UK? What was your first impressions when you came and lived and moved here?
You know, the professionalism of Aston Villa, of the club, how everything was arranged. It was unbelievable for me. You know, the Graafschap was good, and it was nice, and it was familiar, and everybody was really helping me. But then you come to Aston Villa, and that's I don't think you can believe how many steps it's up. Everything was arranged, everything what you wanted. There was somebody who were helping you. Of course, it was for me quite strange to be on my own in a foreign country, but I felt straight away connected with the culture in England. I felt at home straight away, to be fair.
Okay.
And,
who was your coach at that point, Stefan, for Villa?
Graham Taylor. Sir Graham Taylor.
Oh, okay, yeah. So very experienced, and it would have made you feel like part of the family, and certainly at home.
But I must say, the first 3 months, the level was so much higher than I was used to that I thought like, this is too much for me, to be fair. I'm not good enough for this level. I have to go back home to Holland because I will never be a Premier League player. And that was quite tough, to be fair, in the beginning. But I was trying to work as hard as possible to get to that level. But the shots from Paul Merson, Gareth Barry, Lee Henry, Peter Crouch that were going so fast around me. It was very hard for me to understand how quick the pace of the game was in England comparing to the Dutch pace.
Yeah,
that's a lot of mental strength rather than as well as physical strength. So you got to keep yourself that motivation going to drive yourself to get to that number one position, so to speak.
Yeah. But I wasn't even thinking about the number one position. I was thinking about just keeping my head over the water, above the water. And the strange thing is, and from that part, it's like in training sessions, I still remember that shot I saved. It was like a finishing session, and Lee Henry gave me a top corner ball, and I saved it, and I thought like, what just happened? I saved this shot. And that was the moment I thought like, hey man, I can get to this level. I'm touching the Aston Villa baseline. And that was a feeling for me, like a winning feeling. That top corner match save where everybody dreams of. I had that in that training session, and that was an unbelievable feeling. And that helped me get through the next stage. And I felt like I belong at Aston Villa. I can keep my head up. I'm good enough to be there. And that gave me a lot of confidence, to be fair.
Nice. It's like that awakening moment, and you realise that you are good enough. You should be there, and you deserve to be there. Rather than, No, I'll get that. Nice.
And all those 3 months of doubt, that was all your training period. That was high intensity training when these, as you said, these guys are shooting.
Yeah.
What we can't see as as human beings, we can't see the incremental improvements that we are doing every day. We don't see this.
No.
But one day, bang, you done that save, and you went, actually, I can make this. And it gives you that confidence, because I think what you've just shared there is really pivotal, because you're today you're a coach for younger generation.
Yes,
I believe you're coaching the Ajax youth team, and you're working with their goalkeepers. You must share. You've got great stories, but there's an experience. You must be sharing this with them to make sure that they also feel confident.
Yeah, and it's very important that you as a coach see the guideline and break them with the guideline, and with the new technology about video analyze and taking the videos from training sessions and showing them. It's a great part of letting them feel like they're improving every day. And a lot of times we have like six weeks periods. We say like, what do you want to train on, and how do you want to, not how do you want to train, but where do you want to improve on? Because it's the mentality of the player as well. It's very important that they want to make the next step. But then you can say, okay, this is the baseline, and we film it like with one of my goalkeeper. It's like the little scoop. He wasn't really scooping the ball. And we said, okay, I want you to train this week, 6 weeks, just on that scoop, on breaking that low down, going through your knees and taking the ball the whole way up. And we were training that for 6 weeks, but I could see, because of the filming I did, like in the first week, or how he was doing it. And in the end of the last 6 weeks, we had a game, and there was a shot, and he had like the perfect scoop. And it's just that progression that you can see, like, okay, this is where we were standing 6 weeks ago. This is what you did in this game. Now you see the progression, and then it's like the light bulb you see in their head, like, oh yeah, man, I made that progression. So it's very important for a coach every time to get them to see their progression, because you can't see your own growing. What they say.
It's like you say there, the advance in technology now, it just makes it easier for, yourselves and the players as well to be able to see where they've come from to where they're getting to, so you can see them, as Tony said, the incremental changes. So it gives you that technology and the tools to do that, rather than obviously back in the day where it's just, there was two blokes standing on the touchline just picking holes in where you're going wrong all the time.
Mm-hmm. Especially,
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Technology certainly plays a part. So in your career in Aston Villa, what would you say was your greatest highlight?
My greatest highlight was Arsenal away. We lost 3-1 against an amazing team at that point of view. It was the best team. It was the first time that I knew I was going to play 3 days in front. Thomas Sørensen was injured, and the manager said, okay, you're going to play on Saturday, on Wednesday. So I could get myself into that motion of oh man, I'm going to play. I have to do this. And I had an unbelievable goalkeeping coach, Eric Steele, who absolutely helped me to the stage, what's going to happen, how they were going to play. And I remember that they said Arsenal at that point of view, they were just dribbling the ball over the goal line. They're not going to shoot from distance. They are so good. They're going to play the ball and they dribble it over the goal line. They're not going to shoot outside the box, but they're so good. They will play till they're three yards in front of you, and then they will shoot. So just stay in your area and make those saves. So we trained a whole week, or 3 days on that, only doing that. And to be fair, it all came out. It all came out in that game. Everything suited. And I think I had 16 or 17 saves during that game. So
busy day.
Yeah, It was amazing. And it's still great memory.
Yeah. Who was I can't remember what period of was that when which Arsenal, I'm trying to think which Arsenal team would it have been? Would it have been the Invincibles team where it was Dennis Bergkamp?
Yeah. It was Dennis the 49th game they didn't lose in the Premier League. The next week they lost against Man United.
That was down to you. You shattered their confidence.
Yeah, that was it.
That was 100% Stefan. That was you won that. You broke their duck. But yeah, your fellow countryman Dennis Bergkamp. What a player! What a player! Just unbelievable.
I'm the lucky one that has his shirt from that game.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, I've got that in the locker. That saved me.
Tucked away.
You see, when we look at players today, when I look at the football players today, these players with this flair, like the Maradonas or the Dennis Bergkamps and these kind of players, I don't see anymore. They're very robotic. And we've got, you may know this guy. We've got, so obviously me and John are West Ham supporters. So we've got Mohamed Kudus, who was formerly at Ajax. He's got some flair to an extent, but the way I see football today, the teams don't have there's no luxury players. You don't have these players no more who've got this where they can just play anywhere and do whatever they want. Like a bit like Dennis, who can. I can't remember the goal where he had his back towards the goal. He flicked the ball round and turned.
Leicester or Newcastle, if I remember.
Yeah, Leicester or Newcastle. If you do that now, you get told off by your coach for doing these things.
No, that was it. But it was a complete different area. If you can see how we train nowadays and how everything is structured in the training wise, and how they have to be physically, mentally so strong. You know, if you see the players in the Premier League at the moment, they all look like 6'6" humans, like mountains, big guys. So, and the pace of play is unbelievable nowadays. So it's quite difficult to be there, but there's still some Messis around, but it's a different way. It's a different kind.
Yeah, we see that. We see that. We're not very happy at our club at the moment. Things are improving, but West Ham as a team, very dull football, and we've had a lot of anger between the club and the fans. And we've changed our manager twice this season already, but we have some faith in the new manager right now, Graham Potter. Hopefully, he seems like a good coach, and hopefully we can.
And he's got the attacking mentality of a coach.
We are praying he has. Yes, we hope so.
Yes.
That's been missing for too long, isn't it?
But yeah, and he's psychological as well. He really focused on the psychological side. So I know he's got some qualifications in from that perspective. But we live in hope. Stefan, so when you was growing up, who was your? Let me ask you a question. This is a crazy question. Yeah. Who do you think, in your opinion, who do you think is the best, apart from yourself, obviously, who is the greatest goalkeeper in your opinion, or who was?
In my opinion, it was like my idol was Hans van Breukelen, who played for Nottingham Forest as well.
Okay.
He was on my youth boyhood team and then PSV Eindhoven.
Okay.
He was the national team. They won the European Championship in '88. And he was the goalkeeper, and he wasn't the goalkeeper that you liked by his style, because he didn't have the perfect skills of a goalkeeper, but it was just his mentality, how he was standing on the pitch and like, here I am, that attracted me. I remember going to a training session of him. It was like with our football team, my youth football team, we were going to watch a training session at PSV Eindhoven and have a tour in the stadium. And I remember him doing a training session, and it was with so much passion. He was going for it 100%. And I just was sitting on the ball watching him, and I thought, like, I want to be like him, man. And it's a little bit my style as well, because I'm not a perfect goalkeeper. You know, I don't have the flair and the style of Edwin van der Sar, what they say. But I knew I just needed to work really hard. And that was the passion I saw in Hans van Breukelen. And luckily enough, he's been my goalkeeping coach, and he was like the director of Utrecht as well. So I know him quite good, to be fair. And it's great to meet your idol in the end of it as well.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, did you in your time, because I know you obviously played a little bit of football as well to get to a certain level.
Yeah.
You must have had some. You must have met some, because you must have met some footballers as well in your time.
Yeah, obviously, you know, as Stefan knows, you know, my cousin Gareth used to play football with Stefan at Aston Villa anyway. So we probably have crossed paths a couple of times at Villa Park in the past, over many years ago. Yeah, as I say, when you get to meet certain players, you can tell there's an aura around them. You know, they've got that not kind of suave. You know what I mean? They fill the room as soon as they walk in. You know, you can just tell that they're there, because obviously the sense of persona they bring. You know, there's 2 or 3 players that I've met. You know, obviously Di Canio in the past, I've met him. Just when he walks in the room, you just feel it. You know, you don't have to hear or see him. You sense he's in there. You know, it's a nice feeling. As you say, they're kind of like your idols, but you feel you can't talk to them because you're not welcome. You're not good enough to talk to them. You know, but as you say, you know, obviously as Stefan just said there, you know, with the Holland goalkeeper, you know, once he's met him, it's kind of like, right, now I've got that out of the way. He's now my coach. You know, this is where you develop, and this is what I've got to take as much on board that he can give me to turn me into what I can be. You know. Obviously, Stefan went on, had a great career, you know, obviously the clubs he's played for and that. And as I say, you know, we probably have crossed paths in the past somewhere down the line at Villa Park. You know, the chance of that are probably quite high. But yeah, as you say, it's hard to explain until you're probably that kind of player that's had the chance to train under an idol. You know, it's I suppose it's kind of like being the fanboy, as you say. You know, you've got to get that out of your head that they are just human. They will talk to you. They're going to give you everything they can give you.
Yeah, normal people. Absolutely. Stefan, in regards to coaching in the Netherlands and the coaching in the UK, do you see there's a difference?
To be fair, I can't really say at the moment like how it was in England. Is in England, because I haven't seen many training sessions of English academies. But I remember when I was playing at Aston Villa, we had like the goalkeeping sessions, and the under 17s and under 19s, they were doing the shooting practice on the goalkeepers from the first and the second team. So they were already learning all the all the skills by just shooting at us, and we were demanding the standard, what they had to prove. So I think that's something that's very good. But I take part in my time when I'm here now at Utrecht in the academy. I try to get young kids involved in training sessions and let them see what the standard is from that age group, that higher age group, so they know like what they have to do to become there.
Right, excellent. Yeah, because from my knowledge of Ajax as a football club, it's been renowned for its academy. You created some fantastic players, and obviously you've been there now for some time from a coaching capacity.
Yeah.
Why in your opinion, why is Ajax how is Ajax able to produce such great players?
I think the most important thing is that like they put the player in front of the result, so they look how the player can evolve instead of winning games. They said like it's not important like the under 17 to be champions of the league, but it is that one player that makes the first team that makes the difference, and that's something like that I have seen in the last 3 years. In like sometimes you have to pick a player up and put him in a higher team, so he get more tested and feels like what he needs to do, make him uncomfortable, make him like, because if he's always the best player in the under 17, when he comes in the under 19, he's
same again.
His standards will be not good enough yet. So he has to fight for himself to establish himself again in that team. And I think that triggers players to grow and to grow and to grow.
Nice.
Makes sense.
It's very different because you got what I saw at grassroots was all about the scoreline. It was about winning. Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. So it's almost, Stefan, it's not always about winning. It's how you play the game. Yeah, and playing to your full potential, rather than always focused on the result. Would you say that, John?
Yeah, definitely. I think it makes more sense at the end of the day, because everyone wants to win at the end of the day. But as you say, the result isn't always the important thing. It's how everyone performs as an individual and work as a team more than anything, I think. And I say, if you just got an individual who's just more concerned about winning and doesn't care about the rest of his teammates, you're going to find that that's just never going to work.
It's you have to believe the progress that the process of where you want to go and how you're going to get there, and you have to get every player is different in how he gets to that level, and if you can see that as an academy where that player needs and what that player needs, and sometimes he needs a kick, sometimes he needs to be pushed, but sometimes he needs to be the best player as well, so he can be a leader of that team. So the strong part is getting the best out of that player and what it is that player needs at that point of view.
You could say that's in life. Stefan, that's a life statement. Yeah. So if you work with people, or even if you have children, it's trying to get the best out of them. How can you do that? Yeah. And a lot of that's through encouragement, guidance, and patience. I think you have to have patience. My middle son, he was a goalkeeper as well, because I think goalkeeper, in my opinion, it's one of the hardest. As a parent, if your son or a daughter is playing goalkeeper, it's one of the hardest positions to play, because if you like a striker, if they score goals, it's always about the strikers scoring goals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the goalkeepers don't get enough credit, in my opinion. If they make one mistake, it's always, it was down to the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But my son played goalkeeper till about 10 or 12 years old, and then he switched sports. He switched to rugby because when he was a goalkeeper, he was too physical. Sometimes the opposition strikers would get injured, so he came off that side. But would you say, when you was growing up, obviously the strikers that get the most attention, but tough positions. When you look at all the positions in the team now, what's your opinion of goalkeeping today?
No, it's at the moment the goalkeeping position is the most difficult part of the game. If you see how the game is progressing, they have to be unbelievable in passing, because you can't make a mistake in passing, because it's straight away a big chance of the big opponent. Yeah. They have to be agile. They have to be making that incredible saves. What they have to do, they have to go into like corner kicks where everybody is in the 5-yard box, and they still have to manage to get out and punch that ball away. They have to be so diverse in everything they have to do. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And then there is also the balance of like the mental part, because you can be 90 minutes perfect game, and that one mistake will be what everybody will remember.
Yeah.
And that's the difficult part. But the good part of this is like they already learn at a very young age that making a mistake is not what you are as a person. So goalkeepers already know, like, learn at a very young age, I make a mistake, I have to stand up and have to go on again. So what I see, like, in the persons of goalkeepers, in when they grow up, they're great people that already know, like, okay, I can make a mistake, but I have to get up my feet again and go on. So it's a great, I'm just looking for the words in English, life, how to treat life, life skill.
Yeah.
And that's what they have in front of every human being in the world, because they are goalkeepers.
Yeah, really good. Thank you. I mean, thank you for sharing that. I think that's really powerful, because you're right. Psychologically, the character
yes,
will be very strong here. 90 minutes, nothing to do, and then when that moment switches on, you have to be alive. We see today in modern day football a lot of these goalkeepers playing this sweeper position. They have to be good with the ball. We see a lot of goals scored this season in the Premiership where the kick has gone wrong, and these two defenders have moved wide, and there's no one defending. Bang, straight in, goal from mistakes.
Yeah,
very, very dangerous. Tough position. So so as my son did play goal as a goalkeeper for many years, I always give credit to goalkeepers more than most people. So I think goalkeepers are legends. To sit there and
the thing is, sometimes, like, in our grassroots, we don't. It's very hard to get to select goalkeepers when they're very young, because at a lot of teams they switch goalkeepers during the play, so it's very hard to pick out a goalkeeper who's good enough for Ajax to be in the under. But if we can't find them, we let the team also play on goal. So if we don't find a goalkeeper, we just let the players put on a goalkeeping shirt and play in goal.
That's smart.
Good mentality.
Yeah. And I think it's very good for them as well, because they know, they start already learning how difficult it is to be on goal and how difficult it is to get a goal against. So it gives them a little bit more respect in, like, for the goalkeepers. When they get a goalkeeper, they're glad, like, oh, I don't have to be on goal anymore. So go on, you go and goal. So it helps them a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really very powerful, and I think it's a really good idea. Very, very good technique to rotate the players and give them all an idea of the pressure, especially even the defenders, because if the striker's gone past the defense and he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper and someone's running at you, a striker's someone who is, say, 185 centimeters tall, 90 kilograms, is running at you, and they've got a ball, and he's like, which way do I go? You've got that split second to make a decision. Yeah. it's certainly tough. So, and in Netherlands as well, obviously we consider Netherlands as the land of the giants because you guys are all tall.
Huh.
You have a lot of goalkeepers, but you are tall. Stefan, how tall are you?
I'm 6'6".
Wow. Okay. I feel small. I'm 6'3".
Right.
Yeah,
I feel small. I'm 5'11" now.
Yeah, I'm still short, but 6'6". There you go. So tall goalkeeper. There you go. John, did you have any other questions for Stefan?
Yeah, there's only a couple of little ones, just about obviously in the academy setup that you have over there. I mean, over here, we was talking to somebody and they said obviously they look after the youngsters by encouraging them to carry on with their studies, the academics of GCSEs as they are over here. I mean, do they do that over there in Ajax as well, or?
We have an unbelievable program because we have a school on the academy itself. So with us, they train in the morning, and from 12 till 4 they're on school, and at 4 o'clock they can start doing training session again. And even if there's trouble or they have to have some extra hours, they can go from 6 till 7. There's still a teacher there to help them with their homework. So everything is arranged for them to succeed in school. In the end of it, only 2 players of every team make the first team.
Wow.
And of course, because we're Ajax, we're like the top academy in the world. A lot of players go to other teams, and so with us, if you're to be fair, if you get into the under 23s, there's a very big chance of you becoming a professional football player. Maybe not with Ajax, but in all the other teams, there will always be interest for you to get a chance. So that's it. But yeah, we do everything for the players to get their school graduate. So
is that something? Is that something you do as well in regards to if you've got players that they're not going to make it to play for the Ajax first team? Do you help find them other clubs, or do you?
Yeah,
you do.
In the end of it, like now, and especially now this time, we need to let the players know before the 1st of April if they can stay at the academy. So this time, a lot of clubs call we need a goalkeeper. Stefan, do you know if any goalkeepers of your club are not going through, so we can get them on trial? So okay. A lot of clubs take contract with Ajax because they know the quality of the goalkeepers. Maybe it's not good enough for Ajax, but for FC Utrecht, Heerenveen, or every other team, they will be interested because they know the quality we have at our academy and the quality what we expect from the goalkeepers. Maybe not good enough for Ajax, but for every other team, a lot of time it's good enough.
No, it's always nice to hear. Like I say, you hear it so often where players are just discarded, and they're just left, and mentally, if they've been at a club for 16 years since the age of 7 or even younger at Ajax, up to the age of 23, and then there's nothing for them at the end. It's kind of like mentally it must.
Luckily, luckily enough, because we're an A-level club, a lot of players will find another team where they can develop themselves.
No, good. It's always nice to hear. Like I say, it's just one of the worst things to think of. There's so many, you hear about it all the time. As you say, it's such a cutthroat business anyway. Where, as you say, it's 2 in every whatever make it. 2 in every team make it or likely to make it.
Yeah.
It's
and what we try to do during the season as well is having a progression talks with them. So in September we already talked with them what you're expecting from the season, what you expect from us. So we make a guideline. Then in November we have a talk how it's going a little bit. Then in December, January we have okay, this is what we expect at the moment, and we call it a traffic light. So green, you're ready to go on. Orange, it's going to be difficult. You have to pick up, and Red already found, like, at the moment, you're not good enough. We don't see any. You need to do progression. Otherwise, in the end of the season, it might be that we take you off our list. So they already know during the season what's going. Then, like in end of January, beginning of February, they have to make like a development program from themselves, like a presentation, what they're doing well, how they're progressing, what they're good at, what they need a little bit do more, where they have to be understanding. So they're making it from themselves, and it's like a certain kind of CV. It's for school, so they learn how to make presentations. They have to give it to our coaches, but the school teacher is there as well. We have like the mentor, so the first team, or not the first team coach, but the head coach of the team is there. The mentor player, so for the goalkeepers, I'll be there, or the other goalkeeping coach will be there. So they have to have like a group of people also doing that presentation, and it's something they can bring also to another team. If they go to another team, they can present it. This is who I am. So they already gradually know, till like this stage, players already know if they're going to be in the next season at Ajax or not. So we try to help them during the season as well.
I think this basically points out why I realise why Ajax has such a good, amazing setup. You know, just the way they look after the players is just, and the way they teach them, I think it's just, I think so many clubs could take a leaf out of their book. You know, as I say, it's gone on for so many years, and I just think their reputation speaks, well, it stands alone as far as I'm aware. You know, because it's been going for so long. You know, you look back to the days of even when Cruyff was there. You know, that's what everyone knows Ajax, because it's just the way they play football as well. It's just drilled into the players, I think.
Yeah, true academy. It's a true academy. No? Academy. You know, we say West Ham's academy of football, but you know, Ajax is an academy of football. Yeah,
definitely, 100%. Yeah.
So, Stefan, thank you for your time today. I don't want to take too much because you've got an important job. Last question. This is the last question. Very important. The most important question. So we do get some younger people watching this show, as well as parents. Any last advice for any young footballer, boy or girl, goalkeeper, striker, whatever, who wants to progress? Any last advice to them, from your opinion?
Love what you're doing, because it's the passion that you have for like what you want to do. It's making you can succeed, because if you don't love what you're doing, try to do something else what you love. That's the most important thing I can give you.
That's it. That's it.
And that's an advice for even if you're not a footballer. That's
exactly.
I agree. You're a wise man, Stefan.
You felt it as well with your son, because my son was a goalkeeper as well. Sure. And he become to play rugby as well. And I see him dancing on the pitch, and I see him moving around, and I can enjoy that. So I can see like he enjoys it more than he was playing football. So sometimes, even as a parent, you have to step out and let them find it out themselves.
Yeah, there you go. We've lived the same moment.
There you go.
Stefan, thank you very much once again. Really do appreciate it. And we wish you and all of your students the very best for the rest of the season. Yes. And, you know, we as you said, John said, we admire Ajax as a team from this side of the pond. And, you know, all the best, and thank you once again.
Yeah.
John,
thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my knowledge.
That's greatly appreciated, Stefan. Appreciate your time.
I hope somebody has something about this, and I help somebody move around and learn something about it. So thank you. And
yeah, absolutely. So if anyone's got any questions, pop them in the chat. We'll and Stefan, if somebody did have any questions, you'd be happy. Possibly, we'll pass them on to you.
I get back on the show and give them the answers to their questions.
Fantastic. You heard that, viewers. If we can get to 1,000 subscribers, Stefan will come back on again. So, well, thanks everyone for tuning in.